From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. AccuWeather meteorologists are warning that conditions will remain conducive for thunderstorms to produce excessive rainfall and damaging wind gusts through the end of this week from the Appalachians to the Atlantic coast. The combination of lingering moisture and weak fronts moving in slowly from the central U.S. will be enough to set off rounds of slow-moving but potent thunderstorms. The highest risk to lives and property is from torrential rainfall. Now, one issue with storms in the summertime is when they do erupt, they can grow skyward and move very slowly at the same time, just like they do in tropical rainforests or jungles. This has the potential to unload a tremendous amount of rain. In localized areas, 2 to 4 inches could fall in an hour's time and quickly overwhelm storm drains, streets, highways, and small streams. Adjacent locations a mile or even just a few blocks away may receive little or no rainfall. On Tuesday, that same setup triggered deadly flash flooding in New Mexico and inundated streets and cars in downtown Chicago. Areas from New England to the mid-Atlantic, the southern Atlantic, and Appalachians will be locked into this pattern into the weekend. The areas of torrential downpours and severe thunderstorms will shift from day to day as the weak fronts from the Midwest approach and then depart. A storm that forms along one of the fronts on Thursday will be embedded within that pattern. That storm could focus a narrow zone of torrential downpours along portions of the mid-Atlantic and the southern New England coasts. AccuWeather senior meteorologist Tyler Royce said, "We are concerned about the flash flood threat being enhanced from Durham, North Carolina into central Virginia, which is in the area that received 2 to 12 inches of rain this past weekend from Tropical Storm Chantal. The ground across that area is already saturated." Royce went on to say that it's estimated that in this area and other parts of the east, as little as an inch of rain per hour could lead to flash flooding, and the atmosphere is capable of unleashing rainfall of 2 to 3 times that amount. Given the deadly and disastrous flooding events of late, people camping or living along the floodplain of small streams, which are prone to flash flooding in the eastern states, are urged to have an audible means of receiving flash flood alerts 24 hours a day. Residents and visitors should be aware of the quickest means to get to higher ground should flash flooding occur. A flash flood watch means that weather conditions are conducive for flash flooding. A flash flood warning means flash flooding is imminent at that location specified, and move to higher ground immediately. Along with the likelihood of flash flooding with the weather pattern will be zones of severe thunderstorms on a daily basis into the weekend. Just as that setup is conducive to storms with torrential rainfall, some storms are likely to produce powerful wind gusts in certain locations. Tall thunderstorms and downpours can produce a downward rush of air that spreads out as it reaches ground level. These downburst or microburst winds can knock over trees, trigger power outages, and cause property damage, similar to some tornadoes. So today, 2 main areas where severe thunderstorms will be capable of producing powerful wind gusts are forecast. One zone is centered on northern New England, part of the St. Lawrence region of southwestern Quebec, upstate New York into northern Pennsylvania. AccuWeather Storm Max wind gusts in this area are projected at 70 miles per hour. Farther south, the risk of storms packing damaging winds will extend from southern Delaware and Maryland all the way down to Georgia. Within this zone, a more concentrated area of severe weather is likely from southern Virginia to along the South Carolina-Georgia border. The AccuWeather local Storm Max wind gust for this zone is 80 miles per hour. On Friday, the risk of severe thunderstorms with high winds will tend to ease, and that lull may last into part of the weekend in the Northeast. However, on Saturday, the next round of severe thunderstorms will march across the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. As the front associated with the severe weather continues to move along during the weekend, the risk of severe weather is likely to increase in the Appalachians and eastern Great Lakes on Sunday. As severe thunderstorms and torrential downpours affect the major metro areas of the East into this weekend, substantial and long-lasting travel delays can unfold in a matter of minutes. Severe thunderstorms can prompt ground stops at the airports, while flooding downpours could bring traffic to a standstill on some of the major highways. Turning our focus to the Pacific Northwest, hundreds of small earthquakes have rattled Mount Rainier this week in the largest swarm of tremors in more than a decade. But experts say there's no need to panic, at least not yet. The USGS explained that there is no indication that the level of earthquake activity is cause for concern. These tremors are too small to be felt at the surface and will likely continue for several days. There would be no damage caused by such small events. Now, swarms are clusters of earthquakes that happen in rapid succession, sometimes just minutes apart. As of yesterday, over 240 small earthquakes had been detected around Mount Rainier, the largest of which was magnitude 2.3. The USGS said that right now this swarm is still within what we consider normal background levels of activity at Mount Rainier. Based on our observations, we think the most likely cause of the earthquakes is water moving around the crust above the magma chamber. Mount Rainier is an active volcano, although the most recent major eruption was 500 to 600 years ago. The folks at the USGS said the volcano is not due for an eruption, and we do not see any signs of a potential eruption at this time. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I will be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.